We're back.
Hi, we're the Purana guys.
Now, welcome to Purana Talk. That's how it begins.
Okay.
Welcome to Purana Talk.
He's Alan.
And I'm Leon. And we're the Purana guys. And we're messing with you already. This is chapter 154 of the Garuda Purana. Chapter on diseases. Well, I raised my glasses up because, frankly, I see better without them when I'm reading a book. Dhanvantari said, O Sushruta, now I shall explain the cause and pathology of Hridroga.
How do you spell this? Hridroga.
Hrid, as in Hriday, the heart, is H-R with a dot under it, D-R-O-G-A.
Hridroga.
Hridroga. Roga means disease, so it's the Hrid part that means heart. So, heart diseases. They are of 5 types, 1 due to germs, the other 4 due to the 3 humors, severally or in combination. So, 1 is caused by germs, and the other 4 are combinations of the 3 doshas that we know as Pitta, Vayu, and Kapha. They call it Kapha. 2.
What verse? Oh, verse 1.
2. If the cause is Vayu, a feeling of emptiness is observed. The patient eats much and cries. The heart is benumbed, seems to break asunder and dries up. Dizziness is experienced. Suddenly the patient is dejected, feels grief, and is frightened. He cannot bear to hear the least sound. He shivers and faints as a result. There is difficulty in breathing and sleeplessness. 4. As a result of the attack of Pitta, the symptoms are thirst, exhaustion, burning sensation, perspiration, eructation with acidity, vomiting of acid or bilious matter, fever and cloudy vision. All Pitta-like things, Pitta is always going to be hot and wet and acidic, that's like heartburn is Pitta. Pitta city. 5. If deranged kapha causes hridroga, the heart becomes numbed, the digestion is impaired, the face is distorted, hiccup, pain in the bones, spitting of mucous matter, drowsiness, lassitude, fever, non-relish of food are observed. If the ailment of the heart is caused by the combined action of all the 3 doshas, all the different symptoms are observed. If the ailment is due to germs and symptoms are blackish yellow color in the eyes, dizziness and dark vision, cardiac edema, disquietude, itching sensation in the limbs, and expectoration of kapha. The patient thinks that his heart is being sawn with scissors. This ailment shall be treated in the early stages, otherwise it is fatal. 8. Thirst may be caused by vata, pitta, or kapha. Debility is caused by their combination. A 6th variety of hridroga is caused by contact with the persons who are sick. That's the germ one. It's interesting that they have the germ one is different, but certainly, it seems there must be some concept of
They noticed
immunity.
There were diseases you could catch.
Yeah, well, it seems like your your relative immunity or strength of your immunity is affected by doshas. And so the doshas enter into whether or not you're susceptible to the germ. And is this a germ theory? Is it an independent germ theory? Where, this is...
We're in the dark. We don't have the original words. We don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we're reading this in English without looking at the Sanskrit.
And trying to figure out.
And this is one of the issues that you have. So study Sanskrit and read this in the original. That's our advice, right?
If you can, go for it. But because we can't.
And that takes even longer than this. And this seems to be taking lots of time. Okay, let's shut up and go on here. I'm going to go back to 8.
Yeah.
Thirst may be caused by vata, pitta, or kapha. Debility is caused by their combination. A sixth variety of hridroga is caused by contact with persons who are sick. The exciting factors may be vata and pitta. In all these ailments, it is their aggravation that brings about spasmodic jerks in all the limbs, palpitation, agitation, and burning sensation in the heart, and fainting through the withering up of all the dhatus. 10. Thirst arises as a result of the drying up of the root of the tongue, throat, lungs, palate, and the water-carrying vessels. This is a common characteristic symptom of all kinds of hridroga. So, thirst as a result of drying up of various parts of the body by doshic action. 11-12. Sometimes they're combined. Parchedness of the mouth, insatiable thirst for water, hatred for food, weakness in voice, difficulty in putting out the tongue due to the roughness of throat, palate, and the lips, prattling in delirium, mental aberration, and eructation are the symptoms of hridroga. 13-16. The derangement of vayu causes emaciation, dejection of spirit, dizziness of the head, breaking pain at the temples, impaired sense of smell, loss of juiciness in the mouth, dullness of hearing, insomnia, and general debility. I kind of enjoy his translations, even though I wouldn't translate it the same way sometimes. A loss of juiciness in the mouth. Dry mouth. The derangement of the pitta brings about slight increase in the acidity, fainting, bitterness in the mouth, redness in the eyes, perpetual drying up of the body and burning sensation, and a feeling as of fumes escape through the skin. The aggravated kapha obstructs the vayu in the water-carrying vessels. In other words, you got phlegm in your breathing apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
The ducts with the accumulated kapha absorb the heart, as in the case of mud. The throat appears to be pierced with the awn of barley.
I don't know what that refers to.
I don't know, but I stuck a piece of something that looked like barley down my throat once when I was a little kid, and that was not a good thing. But earlier it was talking about the color of an awn of barley reflected in it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's again, it would be lovely to be...
Maybe a white coat or something.
I don't know. The throat appears to be pierced with the awn of barley. There you go. Sleepiness with a sweet taste in the mouth is experienced, a continuous sluggishness felt in the head, lassitude, vomiting, non-relish for food, and ingestion. These symptoms are in brief brought about by all humors in combination. 17. Blood is obstructed due to the accumulation of mucus and undigested matter, thus causing the aggravation of both vayu and pitta. So the patient, while experiencing intense heat, experiences an unbearable chilliness. If thirst obstructs the humor in the viscera, the ailment is definitely caused by pitta. The aching pain caused by drinking too much water is due to the digestion and dilution of albuminous content. 19. The thirst generated by taking in greasy, pungent acid and saline stuffs is due to kapha. The thirst due to the loss of lymph and other secretions is an indication of onset of consumption. 20, finally. The thirst generated by the admixture of atrophy, fainting, and fever, and with other chronic ailments, is called upasargatmika, foreboding evil. And so on that
I
note,
want that word.
Upasargatmika. Upasargatmika. It even had a hyphen in it. I was able to pronounce it relatively well. UPASARGATMIKA. line over it,
Mm-hmm.
along A. T, M, I, K, long A.
Okay.
Upasargatmika. Upasargatmika.
And give me that translation again.
Foreboding evil is what they're saying. Now I can see some parts of it, and whenever evil is concerned, I want to consider the translation, but I'm not that scholar at the moment, at least. Yeah. Okay, so that was chapter 154, and have we explained why you sit there writing notes?
We haven't really talked about that. One of our concerns was that often the table of contents isn't very revealing, and because we're interested in specific subjects, especially food mentioned.
Ayurveda. This is like Ayurveda. This stuff's hot shit for us.
Is just Ayurveda, and metaphysical kind of content like spells, curses, things like that.
I like stories,
but also
stories of the gods.
We're interested in being able to find these things again. So I've been taking notes since we started doing this together, and so in each volume there's a pile of notes that go with it, each one that tells where these different citations occur.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give cliff notes about what the content boils down to as well, but most of the time I'm trying to collect terminology and specific references.
And if there's something I'm looking for, because he's the guy with the pen in hand, I tell him what to write down, and he does it. In fact,
barley.
I've sort of been,
for instance, because that's a food reference.
That's kind of a food reference, but in a way, like when you're talking Ayurveda, it's all about food and stuff, and it's constantly saying non-relish for food or tastes in the mouth and things like that. On some level, all of this has to do with digestion and the digestive process. And as I would argue, so does, sacrifice. In Hindu thought is a process very much like that of digestion. It includes, the fire is in Ayurveda, the digestive process itself is the burning, the offering is the giving of food, and its transmutation is the act of, the swaha that sends the gift to the gods. In a sense, it's a replication of the process of. It could be.
Yeah, well, it's certain. I think that they certainly recognize.
I've been thinking about this.
That there were the warm and the cold. If you get my drift, so that
what are you getting all Levi Strauss on me or something?
The alive mammals are all warm.
Oh, I see.
And then there's the creatures that are cold, that are still alive, like reptiles and fish, and there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen them talk about that.
But, well, they were sort of getting into it at one point when they were talking about the creation story period that we were in. I don't know if it was in this Purana or the one before.
We're done. You can go if you want.
But do you remember what I'm talking about, where it was going through the different creatures and how they came about, and it goes through fish and then mammals and...
Yeah, well, the whole Dasha Avatar, in a sense, looks like an evolutionary process, from the fish to the tortoise to the, it eventually emerges out of the water. Let me see, how does it go? I don't
remember the order that they did it in, but
But eventually it evolves to, to Rama and to Buddha in some accountings, Parashurama, the Vamana, the dwarf avatar, is little people everywhere will not be happy. Well, he's deified, but he's sort of on that chain. He's sort of on an evolutionary scale, a little bit below the Krishna and Rama ideal.
But we're reminded constantly
types.
Too that it's all Vishnu, that it's all sacred.
It is all the same one thing. Yeah, every stage in this
even us
process,
all of it.
We've been talking about. This is a discourse between Dhanvantari and a later historical, if you will, Ayurvedic doctor in the Garuda Purana sections we've been reading, and Dhanvantari himself emerges in the scene where Vishnu's every place in that story of the creation of the milk ocean, except that Shiva drinks the poison and his throat turns blue. But other than that, he's the tortoise, he's the maiden that's dancing around, and
it all comes out of Vishnu sleeping.
Yeah,
that's Brahma arises, and then all the rest of it.
And is the serpent the serpent that churns is the Sheshanaga, isn't it? It's the serpent that he lays upon in his primeval form, as when Brahma grows out of his navel.
Nowadays are the primitive tribe people too in India.
Yeah, well, the serpents. Well, there's Nagaland.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's always been. That gets into a whole other can of worms.
Some people speculate that Shiva is really the ancient god of those people, and there's a bunch of theories out there.
There are. And on that note, I think we'll conclude this episode.
Bye. See you next time.
Stop.